Hi everyone, welcome to the 26th edition of our World Energy Markets Observatory. My name is James Forrest, I'm the Global Industry Leader for Energy Transition and Utilities. I'm joined today by Claire Lewiner and Pete King. As you can see, we've done things a bit differently this year. We've recorded 4 separate chapters. We do hope you enjoyed the first 3. This is our final chapter, which brings together the key findings and the recommendations. If we move first onto the key findings. So there's been strong geopolitical tensions throughout the year. Electricity and gas prices are back to pre-crisis levels. It's been a record year for renewables, so the year-on-year capacity has increased by 14%, so we're right now at the peak of additions. Our previous announcements that nuclear plants are reviving has continued significantly. There's been a significant increase in the nuclear renaissance. There's been increased grid balancing problems this year. We've struggled with a business model for stationary batteries this year. The hydrogen objectives are lagging, and there's been no progress on carbon markets coverage. Therefore, GHG emissions increased this year. They should have decreased by 7%. So we're not on track for the Paris agreements. So what can we do about that? We've got 3 key recommendations. We need new market mechanisms, we need to accelerate the energy transition, and we need sound sovereignty approaches.
So if we look at the first of those, new market mechanisms, the reality is that most energy supply in the world today is under some sort of subsidy mechanism. And what we need to do is to change those subsidy mechanisms. We need to encourage storage and batteries in particular. We need to look at the renewables business model and make sure that the renewables are profitable. We need to find a way of financing nuclear power. We need to reserve some CCGT, so some gas-fired generation, to balance the network for the time being. Carbon capture investments need to be bankable. At the moment, it's very hard to build a business case for carbon capture. We need to increase the market support for grid flexibility. And we need to also be realistic about the role of hydrogen in our future and really focus hydrogen on those hard-to-abate sectors.
We need also to accelerate the energy transition. As was acknowledged, we are not on the right path to go to net zero. So by 2030, we need to deploy quicker the existing technologies, wind, solar, nuclear. Also, we will need storage to balance the grid, industrial heat can be developed, and AI could help and accelerate this transition. However, what's needed also is probably more public funding and private funding, meaning that we will need to have bankable business models for all those new technologies. Appropriate and stable regulation and acceleration of permitting, which is a critical problem in some European countries. Consumers need to be engaged in this energy transition and also accept to make their demand more flexible. We need serious political commitment and sound policies. And quite importantly, we need to prepare youngsters for those future carbon jobs, which are very attractive, while acknowledging that some other jobs will disappear. We need to extend nuclear plant lifetime, stop methane emissions. Methane is a very bad greenhouse gas, so we need to stop that. We need to measure things differently and measure things in final consumption, not primary energy consumption. And we need to acknowledge that as we are late on those objectives, we need to implement quick enough adaptation measures. Also, we acknowledge in this report that China has even increased its dominant position, both on all clean tech technologies, for example, PV solars, also in rare earths and rare metals needed for the energy transition. In reaction to that, Western countries have implemented sovereignty policies. They put embargoes, tariffs, for example, tariffs in the US on PV panels and other things. Also put some embargoes on Russian oil and coal, in the US on Chinese PV panels, and which is positive, law to encourage domestic industrial production like ERA in the US or Net Zero Industrial Act in Europe. However, We are in a very global and interconnected world, and embargoes are often circumvented. Tariffs are increasing the cost for the end consumer, and this is a very sensitive point because we need to be very careful on the acceptance of energy transition that will cost probably more. We believe that peaceful agreements are better than embargoes and tariffs, etc. But probably today we are not in the right situation to do that, but it has to be a hope for the future. So, to conclude, I would like to thank James Forrest, Peter King, also other colleagues like Florent Andrion and Philippe Ye, and all the colleagues that have participated in the articles drafting, which are in the WEMO report. And I would like to thank also our partners, which are helping us, Hogan Lowell, which helps us on the legal side, VESA EGT, which helps us on the consumer behavior side, and Data, which helps us on the data providing. Thank you very much. We are eager to get your feedback on all that. We'll meet next year, hopefully.